Basically any game that comes out that's a sequel to another game, it already comes in with a built-in expectation that it needs to be bigger and better than that previous game. And it's sometimes hard for games to live up to those expectations. Now, if you take that and then you're also trying to follow up what a lot of people consider the greatest game ever made, and you look at something like Tears of the Kingdom and think, how could they possibly do it? How could they make the best game ever better? And in my opinion, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom did just that, and it's not even close. I don't think I'm going to spend as much time explaining what Tears of the Kingdom is as I have in other games entries on this list. Much like Baldur's Gate 3, it's almost impossible to truly mention all the reasons this game is amazing and everything you can do in it. It's a sequel to Breath of the Wild, and they made even better tools to use while exploring Hyrule, as well as building on what it even means to be in Hyrule. This game introduced so many great tools, but let's start with the biggest one, Ultra Hand. Being able to move things around in free space and sticking two things together like glue sounds so simple, and it is, but that's what makes it so beautiful. It's simple, but you can make countless things this way to solve any sort of puzzle, or even just solving how to get from point A to B in the most satisfying way. No other game has ever made me choose the longer way of building something to use to get me around, versus just running and climbing my way there, but getting there quicker. It's like the video game embodiment of the phrase, it's not about the destination, but the joy of the journey. Much like Baldur's Gate 3 and its infinite ways of approaching the game, Tears is the same. Once you've collected a lot of the Zonai devices that are used to create your vehicles, there really are infinite ways to approach the same situation in a way that rewards creativity and experimentation for everyone. Another game changer is Ascend, the best get me out of here ability in a game ever. It's simple. Have a roof over your head? Just teleport up and out the other side. It helps both get out of mistakes you've made, but also adds a level of verticality to puzzles too. Like everything in this game, it has multiple uses that work perfectly with one another. I haven't even mentioned the story yet. I honestly couldn't tell you the story of Breath of the Wild other than Calamity Ganon showed up and it was bad news. I think the story in Tears of the Kingdom is much, much better. The game opens with Zelda and Link finding a mysterious old body that suddenly awakens and attacks. Link tries to fight back, but he has his arm almost burned away and he loses all of his hearts and stamina as a way of getting you back to square one in this game. Zelda then is pulled into a chasm far below Hyrule Castle and the adventure begins. Of course, this mysterious body is Ganondorf, known as the Demon King of legend. Throughout the game, learning where he came from, how he got to what Link and Zelda found him as, and most importantly, what happened to Zelda and where is she? Finding out all of this was a journey that I couldn't stop playing until I got my answers. I lost tons of hours of sleep this year to playing this game and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Along with the main story, each Zelda game also always has a fun story behind how the Master Sword comes into play. It's broken and shattered by the Demon King in the beginning of the game. The story and method of how Link gets the Master Sword back in this game is my favorite story moment in any Zelda game I've ever played. And honestly, the more I start thinking about it, I think it's my favorite Nintendo story piece that I've ever played. It's so cool. There's so much else I can say about this game, and much like the trailers leading up to the release of this game, I'm burying the lead here. Not only do you have all of Hyrule to explore, and the Sky Islands they showed in trailers, there's also the depths, an underground area that is literally just as big as the map of Hyrule, underground in complete darkness. It sounds scary, and honestly, it kind of is. It's a whole other world down the depths. Monsters are tougher, being hurt by them takes hearts away and can't be healed back without being in the light or cooking with a specific ingredient. It's like its own survival mode down there, and it's insane. The best part about the depths is something I'm never going to spoil for you guys, but just when you play it, just think about the depths and its connection to everything else. It's very mysterious just because it's absolute darkness, like you don't know what's down there. But how it relates to the rest of Hyrule was like this big aha moment that, like, ironically in a place of total darkness was like a light bulb just went off. That once I realized that, I was just blown away even more than I was already with this game. A lot of what makes this game great is the same as Breath of the Wild 2. The world is so real and lived in, the side quests are so rewarding, exploration and discoveries are impossible to avoid, and the game does such a great job of letting your will to explore and discover be what leads you to the content available in the game. See a cave up on a mountainside? There is always going to be something in there worth checking out, and it makes every second of this game, even ones where you aren't doing anything, feel worthwhile. I also wanted to shout out the final boss encounter / sequence of this game. Slight spoilers on the format of the first half of this sequence, but I'll leave the back half a mystery. Having a one-on-one sword fight with Ganon is the best way to fight him in my opinion. It's so close and personal and just lets you feel how powerful Ganon can be, but also how skilled Link / you have become in the game to be able to defeat someone like that. It's fantastic and was a much better ending than Breath of the Wild. I debated having this game higher on my list than it is here at 5. It feels wrong having it only at 5. That's kind of the year it's been. This game is an absolute masterpiece, a bona fide classic just like Breath of the Wild. If you somehow are one of the people out there that enjoys video games and is watching this video that hasn't played Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, I implore you, play Breath of the Wild first. It's an awesome game. It's a masterpiece in its own right, but I don't think I would like Breath of the Wild if I played Tears of the Kingdom and then went back to Breath of the Wild. Play Breath of the Wild first. You'll love it and appreciate it, and then you'll just have an even bigger appreciation for what Tears of the Kingdom did to go from that perfect game to an objectively better game, in my opinion. I can't think of anything that's better in Breath of the Wild than in Tears of the Kingdom.
Link, you must find me.